Imagine this for a moment. What if the deepest pain you've ever faced wasn't a punishment, but a preparation? What if every heartbreak, every loss, every moment of despair wasn't proof that you failed, but part of a sacred process of your soul awakening? And what if the very darkness you once feared was actually the crucible that forged your spiritual strength? Today, we're going to explore something profound. 7 signs that you have already passed the most painful test of your soul. And the 7th sign, make sure you stay until the end, is the most powerful of all. It has the potential to completely change the way you understand your journey, your wounds, and your inner light. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your reflections are part of this collective exploration. What we're about to discuss may not only help you see your life differently, it may finally help you understand the deeper meaning behind your own transformation. Carl Jung believed that the human soul evolves through suffering, integration, and rebirth. He called this process individuation, the sacred path of becoming who you truly are. But what most people don't realize is that this process often hides behind life's most painful experiences. The greatest spiritual test of your life rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive with clarity or explanation. It comes disguised as loss, chaos, emptiness, and only after you've survived it do you begin to realize what it was preparing you for. Think back for a moment. Was there a time when everything in your life seemed to collapse? When people left, opportunities vanished, and you no longer recognized the person you used to be? Many who have passed this silent initiation remember a season like that. A time when life stripped away every illusion and forced them to face their raw essence. This is what Jung called the night sea journey, the descent into the unconscious, the confrontation with the shadow, the place where everything you've denied about yourself waits to be seen and integrated. Passing the test of the soul means you faced this darkness and emerged with new eyes. It means the storm didn't destroy you. It revealed you. The first sign that you have passed the most painful test of your soul is this. You no longer fear solitude. At some point, your loneliness stopped feeling like a punishment and started feeling like peace. You discovered that being alone is not the same as being abandoned. Instead, solitude became a sacred space, one where you could finally hear your own voice again. Across ancient traditions, this truth appears again and again. Prophets went into the desert to find clarity. Mystics withdrew from the world to encounter God, and countless souls rediscovered their truth in isolation. If you can now sit with yourself without running from your thoughts, if you can rest in your own presence without constant distraction, your soul has matured beyond dependency. You no longer seek validation to know your worth, because you've already looked into the abyss and realized that you are enough. This kind of peace cannot be taught. It is earned through endurance, through silent tears, through nights when you truly believed you wouldn't make it. The second sign is equally powerful. You have stopped blaming others for your pain. There was a time when you looked outward, searching for someone to hold responsible for what happened to you. But something shifted. Instead of seeing villains, you began to see teachers. You realized that those who hurt you were often unconscious instruments of your awakening. Jung once wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When this insight truly lands, suffering transforms into wisdom. This doesn't mean condoning cruelty or forgetting betrayal. It means understanding that your soul used those experiences to reveal where your wounds were hiding. At this level of awareness, life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a classroom. You begin to live from a place of quiet compassion, even for those who caused you pain, because you now understand that they too were fighting battles you could not see. The third sign is subtle, yet profound. You feel gratitude for the lessons hidden in your suffering. There was a time when gratitude felt impossible, maybe even offensive, while you were still bleeding from life's wounds. But now, when you look back, you can see how each trial shaped you, softened you, and deepened your understanding of what truly matters. This is not toxic positivity. It's mature awareness. It's the recognition that meaning can coexist with pain. Ask yourself this: can you now look at your past not as a curse, but as sacred ground where your soul grew? Can you feel a quiet thankfulness for the journey, even with all its heartbreaks? If so, you've crossed a threshold. You've turned pain into purpose and scars into wisdom. Everyone who transcends the test of the soul reaches this moment, the moment when they stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is life trying to show me through this?" That shift marks the true beginning of awakening. It's when consciousness expands beyond the victimhood of the ego and begins to sense a deeper intelligence working behind the chaos. Stay with me, because the signs only grow deeper from here. The fourth sign that you have passed the most painful test of your soul is an unshakable inner calm, even when life becomes chaotic. There was a time when unexpected challenges sent you spiraling into fear, anger, or despair. But now, even when everything around you falls apart, something inside remains still. As if your soul remembers that you have already survived storms greater than this. Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder, a secret order." You've learned that life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. You no longer resist uncertainty, because you've discovered that peace is not found in control, but in surrender. You might still feel pain, but it no longer defines you. Fear has lost its grip because you recognize it as a passing visitor, not a permanent state. You face challenges with grace now, because you no longer need the illusion of certainty to feel safe. The fifth sign is one many people misunderstand. Your compassion has deepened, not hardened. Deep suffering often makes people close their hearts, but those who truly pass the test of the soul allow pain to soften them instead of breaking them. You feel the struggles of others more vividly now, because you recognize parts of yourself in their eyes. This compassion isn't sentimental. It's forged in understanding. You don't judge as quickly because you know what it feels like to be lost, misunderstood, and fighting invisible battles in silence. This empathy is not weakness. It is sacred strength. You may notice that your relationships have changed. Conversations feel deeper. You're drawn to truth, vulnerability, and spiritual growth. Some connections fade away naturally, not out of resentment, but because your energy no longer matches. This too is a sign of growth. You've learned to release without bitterness, to let go with peace. Some souls come to teach, some come to test, a few come to stay. You now understand this without pain. The sixth sign is this: you can live with uncertainty and still move forward with faith. Life no longer feels random, even when you don't have answers. You trust an invisible current, call it intuition, destiny, or divine timing. In Jungian terms, This is when the conscious and unconscious begin working together. You trust your inner voice now because it has proven itself in the fire of experience. You make choices from alignment, not fear. And as you do, you begin to notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to confirm you're on the right path. You stop chasing validation, approval, status. Instead, you seek peace, purpose, and authenticity. You stop asking, "Who do I need to become?" and start asking, "Who was I before I learned to doubt myself?" And yet, even here, the journey isn't over. There is one final sign, the seventh, the most powerful of all. It reveals the hidden meaning behind your entire journey and offers ultimate liberation. If this resonates so far, share your reflections in the comments. Your story might be the mirror someone else needs. Before we reach the final revelation, take a moment to notice something subtle. If you've been listening closely, you may already feel it. That quiet sense that something inside you has shifted. That's not imagination. That's recognition. Because the seventh sign we're about to uncover doesn't come as a dramatic event. It arrives as a deep knowing, a truth you feel more than you think. But before we step fully into that final sign, we need to understand what happens after you've passed through the darkest night of your soul. When you've endured the deepest pain and survived it, something profound changes in the way you experience life. You stop moving through the world as someone who is merely reacting. You begin to move as someone who is responding with awareness. This brings us to a crucial realization. Passing the most painful test of your soul does not mean life suddenly becomes easy. It means life becomes honest. You no longer need illusions to protect you. You no longer need stories that explain away suffering. You no longer need to pretend that everything happens for a simple reason. Instead, you can sit with complexity. You can hold paradox. You can accept that life is both beautiful and brutal, sacred and chaotic, and still meaningful. At this stage, you may notice that your old identity begins to dissolve. The version of you that needed to prove something, the version that needed approval, the version that survived by performing, pleasing, or controlling. That self slowly fades, not because it failed, but because it's no longer needed. This can feel disorienting at first. You may ask yourself, if I'm not who I used to be, then who am I now? Jung would say, this is the moment when the persona, the mask you wore to survive, loses its power, and what emerges is something quieter, truer, and far more resilient. The self. You begin to notice that you're no longer driven by urgency in the same way. You don't chase outcomes as desperately. You don't cling to people, timelines, or expectations. There's a subtle shift from grasping to allowing. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means your actions come from alignment, not fear. You act because something feels true, not because you're trying to escape discomfort. You speak because your voice matters, not because you're trying to be seen. You move forward, not because you're running from pain, but because you trust where you're being led. And this brings us closer to the seventh sign. But before we name it, we need to address something important, something many people misunderstand about healing. Healing is not the absence of pain. Healing is the end of resistance to pain. When you pass the test of the soul, you stop asking pain to justify itself. You stop demanding that suffering make sense before you allow yourself peace. You accept that some experiences shape you not through explanation, but through transformation. This is why you may notice that old wounds no longer hook into you, the way they once did. Memories still arise, but they don't own you. Triggers still appear, but they don't define you. You can remember without reliving. You can reflect without reopening the wound. That is not forgetting. That is integration. Jung believed that what we refuse to face in ourselves does not disappear. It returns as fate. But what we integrate becomes wisdom. When you integrate your pain, it stops controlling you from the shadows and starts informing you from within. This is also why forgiveness begins to change meaning at this stage. You no longer forgive because someone apologized. You no longer forgive because you were told it's the right thing to do. You forgive because your soul can no longer carry resentment without feeling misaligned. Forgiveness becomes an act of liberation, not for the other person, but for you. You realize that holding on to anger keeps you tethered to the moment that hurt you. Letting go doesn't rewrite the past, it releases the future. And as this release happens, something unexpected emerges. Joy. Not excitement, not pleasure, but a quiet, steady joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. A joy that exists even on ordinary days. A joy that feels less like happiness and more like rightness. This is one of the clearest signs that you are no longer living from the wound, but from the wisdom it revealed. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You have done that. You have looked at what hurt you. You have stayed present with what frightened you. You have walked through what nearly broke you, and instead of becoming bitter, you became aware. Instead of closing, you opened. Instead of hardening, you softened. Now, instead of fearing the unknown, you trust it. You no longer see the universe as something to conquer or control, but something to move with. You sense that life is not opposing you. It is shaping you. This trust brings humility. You stop trying to awaken others. You stop arguing with people who aren't ready. You stop needing to be understood by everyone. You understand that every soul unfolds in its own time. And because of this, your presence changes. People may feel calmer around you without knowing why. They may open up to you unexpectedly. They may feel seen in your silence. This isn't because you have answers. It's because you've made peace with not having them. And now, we arrive at the seventh and final sign. The most powerful proof that you have already passed the most painful test of your soul. Here it is. You no longer identify with your wounds, but with the wisdom they revealed. Read that again. You no longer say, "This is what broke me." You say, "This is what awakened me." This is the alchemical moment Jung described, the union of shadow and light, the realization that the parts of you that suffered and the parts of you that survived were never enemies. They were collaborators in your becoming. You can now look at your past self, the one who cried, doubted, endured, with compassion instead of shame. You don't reject that version of you. You honor them, because without them, you would not be here. Healing was never about erasing pain. It was about integrating it into the story of your evolution. At this stage, something profound settles in. You realize that nothing was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the betrayal, not the endings that felt cruel at the time. Every experience was carving you into the person you were meant to become. And when this realization lands, not intellectually, but emotionally, something releases. You stop fighting your life. You stop arguing with reality. You stop asking, "Why me?" And instead, you quietly say, "Thank you for shaping me." That shift changes everything. From it emerges a new way of living. You begin to live in the present moment, not because you're forcing mindfulness, but because you're no longer pulled apart by regret or anxiety. The past has taught you. The future doesn't threaten you. So you are here, fully. You notice beauty in simplicity. A sunrise feels sacred. Silence feels alive. Ordinary moments carry depth. Life hasn't changed, but you have. Challenges still come. Loss still visits, but you meet them with equanimity. You trust that every experience is an invitation to deepen, not a punishment to endure. This is spiritual maturity. The understanding that meaning was never outside of you. It was hidden inside the very pain you tried to escape. Passing the test of the soul means you stop searching for worth in achievement, approval, or success. You found the treasure within. And now, a new question begins to emerge. What happens after awakening? What is the soul called to do once it remembers who it is? That is where our journey continues. In Part 3, we'll explore how to live from this awakened state, how to stay aligned when life tests you again, and how your personal transformation becomes a gift to the world. When awakening settles in, life does not suddenly become effortless. What changes is not the terrain, but the way you walk upon it. You no longer move through the world trying to survive it. You begin to live with it. This is where the true work begins. You have reached a point in your journey where you no longer see yourself as a victim of fate, but as a conscious participant in a greater design. The realization that your suffering had purpose transforms everything. The illusions of control and fear begin to fade, and what remains is truth, raw, humbling, and liberating. This is where the seventh sign fully unfolds. You no longer identify with your wounds, but with the wisdom they revealed. Carl Jung spoke often about individuation as an alchemical marriage between shadow and light, between the person you presented to the world and the hidden aspects you once denied. To pass the soul's deepest test is to realize these forces were never enemies. They were always parts of the same whole. You can now look at your past self, the one who struggled, cried, doubted, and endured with compassion instead of shame. You no longer reject that version of you. You understand that without them, you could not have arrived here. Healing was never about erasing pain. It was about integrating it into the story of your evolution. And this integration changes how you carry yourself through life. You begin to sense that every moment, every joy, every heartbreak was the universe speaking to you in a language beyond words. Nothing was wasted. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every ending was shaping you into the person you were meant to become. Forgiveness also transforms at this stage. You no longer forgive because someone deserves it. You forgive because your soul can no longer carry resentment without losing its peace. Forgiveness becomes liberation, not absolution. You realize how much energy was once spent replaying old wounds, wishing the past had unfolded differently. But now, you stop fighting what happened. You stop asking, "Why me?" and instead whisper, "Thank you for teaching me." From this awareness, something extraordinary emerges. A quiet joy. Not excitement, not pleasure, but a steady warmth within. A joy that doesn't depend on success or approval. A joy rooted in being alive, awake, and connected to something vast and eternal. This is the unmistakable signature of a soul that has transcended suffering. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You have done that work. You faced your darkness and learned to walk with it instead of running from it. Now, instead of fearing the unknown, you trust it. You understand that the universe is not something to conquer, but something to flow with. This consciousness brings humility. You no longer feel the need to awaken others or force understanding. You radiate peace, and those who are ready will feel it. Another subtle shift begins to appear. You start living in the present moment with a new depth of awareness. You are no longer haunted by regrets of the past or consumed by anxiety about the future. You realize that everything you were searching for was already here. You notice beauty in simplicity. A sunrise feels sacred. Silence feels alive. Laughter feels healing. What once seemed ordinary now carries meaning. This doesn't mean life becomes easy. Challenges still arise. Loss still visits. But you face them with equanimity. You trust that every experience, pleasant or painful, is an invitation to deepen your understanding of yourself and existence. You no longer resist life. You dance with it. This is spiritual maturity, the realization that your worth, peace, and purpose were never external. They were hidden within the very pain you tried to avoid. Passing the test of the soul means you stop searching for meaning in achievements, status, or validation. You have discovered the treasure within. And now, a new purpose begins to reveal itself. Service. When a soul passes through the fire and survives, it carries light back for others. Your story becomes medicine. Your pain becomes guidance. You begin to understand that your healing was never only for you. Whether you share your wisdom through art, conversation, teaching, or simply through your presence, you begin to uplift others without trying. People may feel calmer, safer, or more inspired around you without knowing why. This is resonance. Your energy has changed because you have changed. Jung suggested that the fully individuated person becomes a vessel for something greater, the collective unconscious, the deeper intelligence of life itself. When personal suffering transforms into compassion, you become a bridge for healing in others. You are no longer living only for yourself. You become a quiet force of balance in a chaotic world. Not by preaching, not by correcting, but by embodying peace. Your calm becomes contagious. Your authenticity gives others permission to be real. You carry a light that doesn't demand attention, but draws it naturally. Still, there will be moments when doubt returns, when old wounds whisper again, when you forget. But now you know how to return. You know the light was never outside of you. You know how to breathe through the storm. You know that darkness is not the absence of light. It is the space where light renews itself. This is what it means to pass the most painful test of your soul. It was never a single event. It was an initiation into a new way of being, one grounded in awareness, compassion, and trust in the mystery of life. The scars remain, but they no longer ache. They have become symbols of transformation, proof that you faced the fire and were not consumed. So take a deep breath. Feel how far you've come. Every lesson, every loss, every tear, all of it prepared you for this moment. The moment you finally see yourself not as broken, but as whole. Carl Jung believed that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That is the essence of the journey you've just completed. Every trial was a mirror, reflecting the parts of you that needed to be seen, healed, and loved. And now, Those fragments have returned home. The question is no longer who you are becoming. The question is how you choose to live from this awakened state. The answer begins with humility. Awakening does not make you superior, it makes you compassionate. You no longer see others as broken, but as travelers walking their own sacred path, just as you once did. You live with reverence, you speak with honesty, you act from alignment, and when life tests you again, as it always will, you meet it with trust, not fear. You have learned that even when the path disappears beneath your feet, something within you knows the way. This is the quiet power of someone who has seen the darkness, embraced it, and returned with light. If this message resonated with you, share your reflections in the comments. Let others know which part of your journey mirrored what you heard today. And if you haven't already, subscribe, leave a like, and share this video with someone who may need it. Because awakening is contagious. When one soul rises, it gives permission for others to rise too. Remember this. Your soul has already passed through the fire. You survived what was meant to destroy you. And now you carry the wisdom of someone who knows the truth. The test was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal you. Thank you for watching.